In a quiet rural community of Cross River State, a gruesome accusation would ignite fury, fear, and a relentless pursuit of justice. This is the case of Udah and Oto, two men accused of an unthinkable crime, murder, and cannibalism. On the night of October 7th, 1989, a storm of rage swept through the village. Udah and his friend Oto found themselves at the center of an angry crowd, faces filled with fury, voices demanding justice. Sticks, slippers, and raised fists became symbols of vengeance as the mobs surged toward them. A sudden break in the chaos, the piercing sound of police sirens cut through the night. Officers forced their way through the enraged crowd, pulling Udah and Oto to safety. But safety was short-lived. Inside the police station, new horrors awaited them. Inside the dimly lit station, tension hung heavy in the air. Across the table, officers glared at the two men, demanding answers. The crime? The brutal murder of a man known as Baba Dada, the community's beloved guardian. The accusation? That they had not only killed him, but had eaten his flesh. Oto, his voice shaking, confessed. He admitted to the killing, the disposal of the body, and most disturbingly, offering Udah roasted human flesh. But Udah remained firm. He had never confessed, he never knew what he had eaten, and he was not guilty. The trial court of Cross River State was filled with tension. Spectators whispered, their eyes fixed on the accused. The prosecution presented a key piece of evidence, the confessional statements. Oto's confession was clear, but Udah fought back. He argued that his so-called confession was made under duress. He demanded a fair trial, a fair hearing, but the court had made its decision. Both men were found guilty. Both were sentenced to death. Oto accepted his fate, but for Udah, the battle was far from over. Determined, Udah took his case to the Court of Appeal. He argued that the evidence against him was weak, that the trial had ignored his pleas for fairness. But once again, his words fell on deaf ears. The appeal was dismissed. The sentence remained. But Udah was not a man to surrender. There was one final hope, the Supreme Court. The grand halls of the Supreme Court stood as the last gate between Udah and death. Before the justices, he made his case. The prosecution had not proven his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. The confessional statement had been forced. There had been no fair trial. The judges listened, they deliberated, and then, in a landmark ruling, the verdict was overturned. The Supreme Court found that the case against Udah was flawed, the evidence insufficient. The trial court had failed him, the appeal court had failed him. But today, justice would prevail. Udah was acquitted and discharged. As Udah stepped out of the courtroom, the weight of years lifted from his shoulders. He was free, but the scars of injustice would remain forever.